If you win, the table will honor its word.
Win or lose, it's a way out.
42 regular, wasn't it?
It's Kevlar front to back. The latest ballistic chic.
I'm going to need a gun.
You heard it up top. You better not pout. You better not cry. You better not mess with his dog. That's right. We're talking about the one, the only. It's John Wick, Chapter 4, here on Normies Like Us with your hosts. They call me Mr. Colin Body.
This is Mike Wick.
This is Jacob Wick.
Oh,
Okay,
my
now
brother.
shoot each other.
There can only be one.
Yeah. John Wick time, baby. You know, we're out here. We've
Hell
never done a John
yeah.
Wick episode, but the fourth movie's just come out, and we're locked and
Have
loaded.
we
Have
not?
never talked about it? Maybe
I
on
don't
a
think we've
watch
done
or
a
something.
dedicated episode. Yeah, wild, right?
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Wow. I wonder if
Correct me
this
if
will
I'm
get
wrong.
our long form movie watching treatment at some point, but I don't know. That's interesting that we
what?
haven't talked John Wick before.
Yeah, nothing says the holidays like watching all the John Wick movies when we do a big series. Maybe we'll come back to it. But I guess, yeah, that begs the question, you know, we've never really discussed it in depth. So, you know, where's everybody at with the John Wick franchise? You fans of this? And then we can kind of talk about how we watch John Wick 4, you know.
Yes.
Okay,
together.
so speaking of holidays, Mike, I will say that these films are a holiday tradition to me. I was telling Jacob this as we were going to see this movie, and let's set up. I think we should talk about how we
Yes.
all saw this movie at some point together, which is very
Oh,
cool
yes.
and awesome.
A Normies.
Field trip.
A little field trip, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can you believe? But in the past, I totally recall all of John Wick 1's release because I was in California for it. I was in LA. I saw all the huge billboards. John Wick, don't set
Mhm.
him off. You know, John Wick himself, Keanu Reeves walking out as the eye. And a podcast Jacob and I loved called Harmontown, starring the acclaimed writer Dan Harmon.
Mhm.
He would go off on these rants, Mike, where he would say, "What is Keanu doing? What have you guys driven around? Have you seen these billboards? What are these billboards where John Wick? Like, what does that mean? He's the eye in it. It looks stupid. Is he a candle maker? Is this a series about a mad candle maker?
Right.
Like,
Wish.
what's going on here?" And there weren't a lot of trailers. We should say that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I totally bought into the disinformation campaign of these movies are going to suck. Went home for the holidays that year. I can't remember if it was Christmas or Thanksgiving when this thing came out. I think it was near Christmas. I think it was a November release, still in theaters for a Christmas home trip, right? And my dad comes up to me and like whispers to my brother and I at a huge, big family Christmas dinner with like a lot of relatives over. He says, "Hey, like, when this is all done, like, let's sneak out and see a movie." We're like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely." And the night ends. We get in the car. We're like, "What are we going to go see?" And he says, "I want to show you guys a movie I saw last week that I think is one of the best movies I've ever seen." And we were like, "What?" And he's like, "The new Keanu Reeves movie, John Wick." And
What?
I kind of
Yeah.
remember being like, "I don't know, dude," and
Are you
kind
sure?
of booing it and being like, "I don't know, man."
Wow.
And the second I left that film, I remember thinking, yo, I need to tell everyone in my life to see this movie as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you might have been the one that told me actually, because when it first came out, it kind of escaped me, flew under the radar for a bit, and because I think not everyone may know this, but I think it was originally going to be a straight to DVD release, so it almost wasn't even in
Holy
theaters.
crap.
But they saved it, and actually, it was called, I believe, Scorn at the time. But Keanu Reeves would only call it John Wick in like press and stuff, and he refused to call it Scorn because like that's a stupid title. So he's
Nice.
like, it's John Wick, and they probably saved the
John
saved the
Wick.
entire franchise that would never have been otherwise. But for me, when it came out, I think when it came out on streaming / DVD after it was in theaters, well, I think Colin, you told me about it. I know like friends of the podcast, Ex Kaida, and some other people were on
Mhm.
that, and they're like, "Fucking John Wick." And then I checked
Yeah.
it out, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is like
Yeah.
one of the greatest action movies I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah,
know?
this is around the time was, I was a big Fury Road person. It's like, oh shit, this is how action movies are done. And then John Wick is
Yeah.
coming around too, and it's like, oh, that's how you do it without cars. Like it really revolutionized the stunt performing, and Keanu's
Yeah, it like
physicality is
changed the game.
incredible.
It changed the whole genre for the better, I think. And like, a ton of John Wick clones have been made.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like it became the predominant action genre, like
I mean, we even
standard
had
now.
Atomic Blonde was a spin-off that was with one of the
Exactly.
creators. Yeah, there's been a lot of
Yeah.
those. Some of those straight to Netflix now. So it created this whole franchise. I love it, blown away because I'm a big, sucker for choreography and, stunt work and actual practical effects. And 95% of this is real, choreography and things
Yes.
like that. So
The
that's
two
the
directors
hallmark
of
of
the
a John Wick
first
movie.
one. Yeah, well, you had Chad Stahelski, who's continued to do them, and then David Leitch, who went on to do Atomic Blonde and Bullet Train. So they kind of split off after the first movie, but they both have a stunt background,
They
which
were
is
on
why.
The Matrix as a stunt
Yes.
crew. So they have a history with
Yes.
Keanu. It's all led to
Yeah.
this.
And the stunts, the
Interesting.
realism of the stunts is really what makes it like so good. And
And I'm
Keanu
sure
really
we'll nerd
committing
out
to it.
about
Hell yeah.
everything that goes on in this movie. But it survived to be 4 films at this point. It all
Wow.
started in 2014. It's almost 10 years of John Wick happening. So we've
Wow.
been blessed if you're an action movie fan. But how do we see this? We went on a field trip, right? We all got together, we got suited up, and we went down
That's
to the
right.
Alamo.
Put our Kevlar.
That's
Yeah, we
right.
got our
That's right.
bulletproof suits and our skinny ties.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Alamo Draft House in downtown LA. Great location. I had never been there before, so I was very excited to go see it.
Yeah.
Saw all the posters, all the memorabilia. They have a bar and everything. Like, really cool
Well, and
place to go.
interestingly, they had all the Stab films on VHS in a display case to call back to our Scream episode, which was, they have
That's
little
right.
tchotchkes and
Shout
movie
out,
stuff.
shout out.
We ended up in the front row because the tickets were selling out in every theater. And we had a group of 6 of us, so we were like, oh, geez, front row. But actually, it wasn't too bad. It's probably the best front
No.
row experience I've ever had. So overall,
I would
It's
say
the perfect
great
kind of
seats.
movie that you want to
Reclines.
see. You want to, fills up your whole vision. You really see everything.
it's IMAX for cheap, to sit really
Yeah.
close to the TV,
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think we had a
Of
great
course,
time. Had a
Alamo
couple
Draft
drinks.
House.
Yeah.
Order drinks, order food, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a fun experience. What do you guys think?
Mike, this is your usual hotspot. You were kind of our guide, our little emissary through this entire first
to
time
make a
experience for me as
reservation.
well.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, from down to, again, Jacob said the downtown one we went to, down to literally the architecture was so cool. You're going up all these escalators. You're going through this huge sort of maze of a
Very
building that they've got.
confusing
Very
parking
confusing
garage to get into. But
parking
other than
garage and situation.
yeah.
But then on top of that, you're getting these one-of-a-kind Alamo experience things, which you guys mentioned, the drinks, the food, it's all coming to you. But the pre-roll, before we saw the movie, was a self-taped woman who maybe is an employee for all Alamo, who knows, maybe just this one, who was narrating montages of what the plots of the first 3 John Wick movies were, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
it
a
was like a
whole
YouTube
franchise
video.
recap. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like had like
case
little
you,
jokes and zingers. It was good.
Yeah, I didn't even need it because I actually did watch the first 3 somewhat
yes.
recently. Just binged them, and I was just getting ready for this one. So I was very
That's
well
awesome.
aware of the lore of the
And
universe.
Colin, you rewatched them as well leading up to this.
Absolutely.
I did not because I live them. I'm Mike Wick, So
That's right.
but I do want
Every
to
night when you're
rewatch
driving
them
through
now.
Koreatown,
You got a bunch of those
fighting
coins.
people on a motorcycle.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so we slid the gold coin at the Alamo. They gave us our front row seats. It was great. And I think we had a good time. But yeah, I love this franchise. And I think, why don't we just dive right in? We'll start talking the review of John Wick Chapter 4. No subtitle this time.
The Continental of Los Angeles is probably a shithole, right? It's probably
Dog.
like really bad.
It's probably like
right?
that hotel from American Horror Story that Lady Gaga was at.
Yes.
We're like,
There's a bunch of ghosts in it.
yeah, we're like West Coast Avengers level of assassins out here. Like it's
Yes.
not the best of the best.
It's like Malibu, and then they're like, and you're kind of stuck here. You also like can't get out because of the traffic.
Yeah, that or it's like the haunted one in downtown LA.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just all run down. But we have enough Art Deco, but no one has the charisma of one Keanu Reeves, and that's what we're talking now. John Wick, well, charisma, I guess, well, one thing or another, but we did it.
That's
Saw
right.
the movie.
We did. We saw John Wick Chapter 4. Now, we gave a little bit of the history up top. This is a Lionsgate film. Lionsgate, are you listing them in your top studios as you would do? No, that's why Jacob, as he mentioned, brought up the fact that this was almost a direct to DVD list. Before this, I mean, The Hunger Games were their big movies, right? And God
Wow.
bless them for that. But, this is a little different. And we get these films that start with, it's not just the action. Chad Stileski, David Leitch, and Keanu Reeves, they team up to make this incredible film that's practical, yes, all this other stuff. But I want to point out the other main staple of this series is that when I left that first film, my dad turned to me and said, and I think it's based on a comic book or something, because they're talking about like a lot of weird, like kind of stuff in there, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, crazy. It's not. This is an original series, of course, but has a deep mythology embedded into it, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think the first movie it starts, to run through briefly. It starts off unassuming. He's he lost his wife at some point. And he has a dog that was a gift from her as she was passing, so he would have something to hold on to. And it turns out he was, an ex-assassin kind of crime guy. And these guys come to his house and fuck with him, and they kill his dog. And that makes him say, you know what? I'm back. And he turns out it unveils
Which
this
is a
whole
great
criminal
hook.
underworld. Yeah, and he turns out
think
he's
he's this
the
normal
baddest
guy.
ass. Yep.
They steal his car. They kill his dog. It's the one thing you don't do. It's mess with the man's
And
dog.
all the characters are like, "Oh, John, you fucked with John Wick," and everyone's freaking out. And throughout the movie, you realize just how capable this guy is. And then we go on to, his other
and the world
adventures,
building.
Excommunicado. The world building's
I
great.
think with each successive entry, it kind of expands the world building more from 2 to 3, where you see this larger criminal enterprise of the high table and all that.
Chad Stileski, David Leitch had come together to sort of, again, not only just mutually love, like, well, let's do like the best action you've ever seen. They don't make these kind of movies anymore. But let's also embed Greek epic mythology. This isn't necessarily your sort of like Star Wars-esque tale where it's sort of like Japanese inspired or something like that. This is actually sort of more like myth and fable and sort of just like epic inspired. And the person that they said that they originally told all this to, who kind of got it the most, was of course Lance Reddick, who plays the character Charon, and of course Charon, the Greek ferryman who takes you on the river Styx, correct, to Hades. Shout out to Lance Reddick real quick. We love you. R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. For sure.
Unfortunate, obviously, it's tragedy, and this movie comes out, and it's the last time we'll likely see him on screen unless their project. So yeah, that's obviously very sad, but great talent, and
a huge loss to this franchise. Fulfilling this role as the hotel manager, writer, the concierge. Then you get the real hotel manager, which is Ian McShane's character, and like Jacob's saying, the mythology, the weird stuff in this first one, it really is kind of just limited to, oh, there's a hotel where all the assassins hang out and they have a rule where they won't kill each other. That's kind of interesting to embed in this tale of revenge that's about a guy going up kind of traditionally against a Russian mafia who, like we said, killed his dog. Interesting.
Yeah. It's plot is paper
simple
thin.
premise.
I want revenge.
Yeah, but it's executed like, perfectly. So, and obviously it was a huge hit, started the whole franchise. And I think with each successive one, they kind of try to up themselves, making it bigger and grander and, expanding the cast, adding new people for John Wick to fight and, all kinds of crazy scenarios and everything.
Yeah, the power scaling is very good. We get a lot of good, guest appearances from actors. We get Iron Chef, and there's a lot of good stuff in the sequels regarding that. And they've just done a great job. I don't think they've had a miss similar to Scream. Like, it's pretty fucking consistent, and that includes this one. I think it's probably the most consistent set of action movies ever, including this one. But it'll be full spoilers, by the way, for the whole John Wick franchise and specifically 4, because there's some major stuff happening. So from this point forward, if you haven't seen it or if you just don't care, caution.
That's right.
Anyway, but
yeah, I would say from here, number 2, like Jacob's saying, they just build out and build out and build out. It introduces this whole story where it's like, what is the high table? Who are the people in charge of this world of assassins? Could every person you walk past probably be an assassin? Yes, this film tells you.
Yeah. At least like 1 in every 5 people in the world is working in some capacity for this assassins organization.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are
Yes,
you
yes.
unhoused? You're probably an assassin. Are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
some sort of just normal doctor? You're probably an assassin.
You know, in
Yeah.
like a tailor shop, probably an assassin.
Do
Yeah,
you accept these weird coins? Yeah.
assassin. But so the
Um,
second one, what's the key event? That's essentially he breaks the rule of the Continental, right? Is that the second
Well,
one?
there's
It's
the second one is the Italian guy. He has the marker with John Wick. He's like, I
Mhm.
want to kill my sister and take over her spot on the high table. John Wick's trying to get out, but he's like, basically there's these things called markers in this world where if you agree to do it, you're like honor bound to complete a task for this person or whatever, a favor. So he by doing this contract, he has to work for this guy. That ends up getting in a whole thing, and he has to kill a bunch of people.
Yes, we set up the huge myth that was John Wick in the first film. He is, of course, the Baba Yaga. He is the thing that comes
right.
out and like eats your
The
children at night,
boogeyman.
or whatever.
Yes.
The boogeyman. Yes, thank you.
Correct.
Fucking
The
pencil.
Babadook.
And
Yeah.
he's constantly saying, "I wish he was the Babadook, Mike. I wish he was LGBTQ
The
icon,
Babadook.
the Babadook."
Yes. You know, Jenna Ortega likes the Babadook better.
That's right.
According to Scream
I'm-
Films.
we're
Anyway,
talking about two really good franchises, like you keep saying.
we really are.
We learned what he had to do to give up his reputation in that first film as the Babadook was an undoable task, which is we never see or really understand throughout the franchise, but he basically killed every person he needed to kill. And people are constantly like, how many people was it? And he's like, it was so many people.
Right.
Now, he was released from that. Like Jacob's saying, this Italian gentleman, the second one, who is a part of this quote unquote high table, is the man who released him. And we're learning the difference now in this world of being released from the high table and then what John Wick is by the end of the film, which is, of course, miscomunicado, which is, I'm sorry, excommunicado, which is not released, but you were, of course, like branded, turned away.
Can't use the services of the hotel.
You're part of this organization. It's not like we're just acting like you don't exist, but you are being actively hunted. And now John Wick must pay for his crimes. This sets up the third part, not a chapter, of course, a parabellum, if you will.
Yeah, the chapter 3 parabellum. So yeah, the end of 2, $18 million. Everyone who's an assassin in the city, because it's everyone, they all get the text message, and that's your cliffhanger. Now he's on the run for 3.
Right. There's a bounty on his head. Yep. Everyone in New York City is trying to kill him. Everyone in the world. And he's running around New York. People are chasing him.
Halle Berry, dogfight, it's all that.
Yeah.
He's trying to reach the high table, meet this guy in the desert.
Elder.
Things become very international. Yes. He believes there is a person who sits above the table. To me, we're going to rank them at the end, but you get the franchise highs out of the fact that literally the conception of this film is a Walter Hill Warriors-esque event of, it's not a gang trying to escape a city. It is one man versus the world. And can he fight them off every second of every day? And it turns John Wick from the wounded animal to killer to the predator to the prey. And to see how he responds to that throughout this film, I think is thrilling. And the action is just top notch.
Yeah. This fourth one, we'll kick it off here, is incredible, and it's a great kind of character arc, I think, for John, especially after what we've seen. He's again not the hunted, he's not the hunter anymore. And I mean, it is very mythic. He is taking on the gods of Mount Olympus, and it's like you can gain and lose favor, right? You know what I mean? He's Kratos, basically. So
they keep adding to his bounty. The more people he kills, the higher his bounty gets. So more and more deadly killers are trying to come after him.
The gods.
Yeah. So the high tables had enough, and they're like, we're going to send this guy, Bill Skarsgård, the Marquis of something, this French guy, the Marquis, and his job is to kill John Wick. Of course, that's all these movies are about. After the first one, we got to kill John Wick. And then we also get Donnie Yen, who's hired by the Marquis. He's a friend of John Wick from back in the assassin days. He's a very capable killer. He named Kane, he gets hired to go kill John Wick, and he doesn't want to do it, but there's weird obligations because they have leverage on his daughter. So Donnie Yen reluctantly has to hunt John Wick. Yeah.
He was out of the game, but had to be brought back in because of commitments he made to people in the organization to protect his daughter.
It's implied that he obviously paid with his eyeballs.
Yes,
he cut
Mike.
his
I
own
was
eyes.
talking to Jacob about that on the drive home.
Because
From
he's
our
blind in
experience.
this, yeah.
Now, would you rather do John's task or Kane's task?
Well, John's
John's was
task
just he
is
had to
harming
kill a lot of
others.
people,
Kane's
right?
is it's like he's sacrificing himself for his daughter, where John's sacrificing everyone else for himself, which might be a theme that comes into this. So I think Kane was more
Interesting.
selfless, but he tried to. That was his price. So he's blind now. He's one with the Force. The Force is one with him. Blind
That's
badass
right.
Donnie Yen. Don't pigeonhole him though. But so he's in this.
He
and then we
loves
get
playing
a
blind
new
people.
character. He does. I just want to mention the Tracker, who's this new Gen Z
Yes.
guy with a beanie and a dog, and he's like a wild card. He's hunting John, but he's not willing to.
And he's like a Western trope, the lone gunman with the dog, kind of watching from a distance a lot of times. His motivations are kind of unclear. Like he wants to kill John for the reward money, but he's also like
It has to be enough.
begrudgingly respects John over time. And then John eventually saves his dog from being attacked. So he's like, all right, this guy's all right. Maybe
He
I won't
gets
kill him.
redemption in that act, Jacob, of saving a dog that was about to die. I guess that's the
Yeah.
payoff.
gets
If
to
there's
have a
one thing
beer.
John Wick hates, it's animal
abuse. Human abuse, fine. Animal abuse, get out of there. But to be fair, animals are sometimes better than people. But I was going to say a thing. Oh, yeah, with the Tracker, they were talking about in behind-the-scenes interviews that there was an inspiration of the good, the bad, and the ugly here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no good guys in John Wick's universe. There's just less bad guys, right? So you have the
and there's
good,
like
the bad,
people
the
that
ugly.
respect each other's
Yeah.
skills as assassins, contemporaries.
So
and
if I'm
colleagues.
casting this, they didn't say it in the interview. I think John's the bad, Donnie Yen's the good, and then maybe the ugly's just the side character. Not that he's not handsome,
Right.
but I don't
the
know where
man
to
with
place
no
it.
name or
Sure.
Mr. Nobody.
But yeah, Donnie Yen wears white, a white undershirt. John Wick wears a black. So so it's if
right.
there's Western coding in this, the Marquis
obviously
is
John
technically a
Wick-
white hat. It's very weird,
And John Wick's been the he's the Baba Yaga. He's the man in black. He's he's literally the devil. Like if he's after you, like
He's
R.I.P.
like
to you because
Eastwood.
you're
He's
about
the
to die.
anti-hero. Even though the initials are JW, it's not John Wayne. It's John Wick, baby.
That's right. And I think Colin and I, we were talking about this character, the Tracker, not our favorite part of the movie. It felt like he was kind of just tacked on to the overall plot of things. And it seemed like, we had to throw a dog in there because Halle Berry with her dogs in 3 was so popular. Just like, you need a dog. Like every
These
John Wick
Belgian
movie's gotta have
shepherds that are
dogs.
so popular now. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I was saying to Jacob, there's a very famous Henry Fonda Western film called A Man Called Nobody that is about Henry Fonda playing the most deadly killer on the planet, like an Old West gunslinger. And a kid says to his dad, who's even deadlier than that guy? And he says, that guy, nobody. And a man shows up named Nobody, who is better. And his whole purpose of the entire film is to just egg Henry Fonda on and be like, you should go fight these other gangs. You should do this other stuff. And he's like, why would I do something so daring and brave and dangerous? And he's like, to live. That's the whole point. And he's pushing the central character further and further to their goal.
Wow.
I have to assume. I mean,
like
we're getting,
that.
and of course, the blind Zaitochi trope as well.
Yeah.
This whole film is, and it's so fair for my dad to be like, that must be based on a manga.
Oh, there's a
This
bunch of
film in
references,
general,
right?
but
Film
more than anything,
references.
Jacob, this is Chad Stahelski. I almost wonder if David Leitch like pared him down like a little, or just like was like, no, we have to go easy on this stuff, because Chad Stahelski seems to be like, yo, I liked this movie. I will just put a scene of that movie fucking in this film. Who fucking cares?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, he obviously is a big fan of movies, different genres, movies from the 70s and 60s.
The Warriors.
Reminds me of Tarantino in a way where he'll just homage things a lot. Yeah, The Warriors, that whole
homage.
Homage, which can mean just basically just ripping it
Stealing.
straight out of. But that's kind of, that's what Tarantino does, and he mashes things together to great success. And I think David Leitch was kind of he was more into like the Deadpool style humor where people are quipping. That's what Bullet Train is full of that. And I actually like Stahelski more, who's just like, we need good action.
Yeah.
We need references to like genre movies and B movies in the 70s and stuff. And, for me, it really works,
Yeah. And I want to mention with the Tracker being nobody, it also reminds me of mythology with Odysseus when he's fighting the Cyclops. And it's like, oh, what is your name? My name's Nobody. And then Cyclops is yelling out, nobody is killing me. And, and his friends don't help him. That's
And
the trick.
Mike, the Odyssey is a tale about a man trying to return to his wife. Like you literally
Yeah.
just feel like Chad Stahelski being like, well, this is a Homer-like epic. And you're like,
Yeah.
this movie is what
Yeah.
about the gun
That's what's
shooting
great
is?
when a
It's
good
he's returning
action movie
home.
has aspirations of
Yes.
being something more than it is, and even if it doesn't always fulfill it, it's like it's got it's going for it.
And it's dripping with style. Everything has meaning. Like, even if it's just like, here's a gold coin, we're not going to explain it. Figure it out. Like, they throw stuff like that. Here's a cauldron that you burn your arm on. It's a thing. Don't worry about it. It's just a thing.
Does this look cool? Then we're putting it in the movie.
Yeah. And then that adds the depth because it does feel like a comic book.
Burn your arm on.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. It is comic books.
I want to say, though, because as we approach the plot here, I feel there's 3 acts to this, and that's an easy way to look at it. We have the Osaka, we have Germany, and we have Paris. I think that's our main.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it's
just
very
the intro is
location-based.
he's in the desert, Lawrence of Arabia, and he kills the High Table, the Elder.
Pause.
says,
Pause.
yeah.
Pause.
Right.
Pause. The opening scene of this film. Now, we were in the front row, like you guys keep saying, and we keep talking about cheap IMAX, great seats, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, is Keanu Reeves punching a wooden Mokujin
That's right.
as he is
Extremely
doing
loud.
strength hand training. The bass, my heartbeat, I could feel it skip as he would make contact with the wood.
Yeah,
I was
sounds like
like,
a gunshot.
At one
And I
point,
thought that was the
I shut
theater.
my eyes.
Sound
and
mix
I
was just a little
wonder.
too loud.
I don't, but it's only that opening scene that's that way. Jacob, I think they are evoking that literally his fists are gunshots. I think truly, and I don't mean like in a silly way. I think what they're equating to is like, this is the deadliest human being who has ever existed. And we're showing you he is back at 100% for the thrill ride you are about to go through.
Yeah.
Because he was
training,
wounded all
he's
through
getting
3.
ready.
Yeah, he kind of had to go into hiding. So now he's healed a little bit. Yeah, and it's time to go.
The Bowery King comes in, and all he does is set the ground on John on fire around him. And John continues to drain in the fire.
And he just says hail to the king or something. Yeah, it's like ridiculous. But then we start with our first act, I guess, proper, Osaka, right?
I just want to mention one thing. So, like you said, it's so location based, and that's actually what I thought was really cool with the structure of this movie compared to like 2 and 3, where they try to put him in interesting scenarios, like, oh, John Wick's going to run into this old like antique shop and put together this whole pistol from old pistols, and then like throw a bunch of knives and stuff. This one feels like we're just going to put him in like cool locations and just stage the fight in interesting ways, like a super long staircase, or Osaka, the opening, which we're about to talk about. Awesome location as well.
The press Chad Stahelski did for the third one was, we're at the point where what I want to accomplish as a director is to make the people in my life happy. Like I went to Keanu and said, write down whatever you think a cool action scene would be, and we will figure it out. And he wrote horses versus motorcycles, like things like Jacob is saying, where he's like, just the idea is so cool. Now, you truly believe in this film that it's like, well, where has no one been killed before on screen? Like them just going like, what is, just point to anywhere on the globe and you tell me that they've got a fucking rave going on in a fucking warehouse basement and we will kill people in that warehouse basement.
Yeah.
And the first 3 were primarily New York based. Third had
virtually
some
all.
We do Italy. We do
Casablanca, yes. Yeah.
So we haven't had this many locations in a single John Wick film, I don't
They're
believe.
really hopping around the globe here. And so like you're saying, Mike, with the opening in the Osaka Continental, right?
Mm-hmm. And this is because Winston, even though he shot John Wick at the end of 3, the High Table's like, look, you still harbored him. Your hotel's fucked. You're no longer the owner. And they end up killing the concierge as, reparations. So now the Continental's done, and John has to go somewhere. And he has an old friend over at Osaka Continental, and that's kind of where we catch up with John, going to try to get some help with one of the few allies he has left willing to take a chance on him in this world.
Hiroyuki Sanada, who is another actor that just shows up in a lot, like he's in a lot of martial arts type.
He's in Mortal Kombat. He did 47
mainly
Ronin
samurai based, Japanese era.
But he's in a lot of Western stuff just in the last 10 to 15 years, where he pops up in a lot of stuff. Like he was even in Avengers Infinity War, just popped up in a small part and stuff. So
Mhm.
he's when Hawkeye goes and kills a bunch of like Yakuza members when he's doing
He's
his
over there.
like dark phase.
Yeah, he was working
He-
for the Continental during that period. There's a whole
That's right.
tie-in with
That's
the
right.
MCU and John Wick. The same
That's
neon
right.
light. Yeah,
Clint
he did,
pushes over a gold coin.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
a great actor to show up in this, and him and Donnie Yen have some really great scenes together. And also his daughter in this, who I need to remember the actress's name that
Rina
plays her, but
Sawayama, the pop
Rina
star from
Sawayama.
England. Yeah,
yes,
Sawayama.
and she was awesome as well. Like her action scenes, incredible.
Yeah, she's the daughter of Hiroyuki Sanada's character, Shimazu, I believe, in this. And so
And she's his
the
concierge as
for him.
well. Yeah,
Correct.
so she's like telling him, you got this meeting. They're, the Continental forces or whatever that show up, they're looking for John Wick, the high table people. John
Yeah.
Wick's hiding in Osaka.
And shit hits the
And-
fan essentially. Like really,
Yes.
the plot is that he's hiding out, and then they send a bunch of dudes from the high table with their bulletproof suits and these cool Oni masks, special forces guys, and it's on. It's Osaka Continental versus the world with John and Akira gets in on the action. Shimazu.
We got the
gets in on
Osaka
action.
guards that all have, swords and everything and katanas, and they're just fucking all out
Yes, we get a
battle.
big set piece here.
Yeah.
The Osaka guards are using like bow and arrows and stuff. So you have a bulletproof suit, but like an arrow still works or something. I don't know. It's just interesting.
You gotta get between the
Well,
armor points, and even when they're
and an
shooting
arrow
guns, they're, like,
shot,
blasting them.
2 inches from your neck into your
Yeah.
neck. It's like, ah!
But there's some. I mean, we raved about the single arrow choreography in Prey, and again, that's excellent. But this is just like there's some crazy stuff going on. Like Rina Sawamoto's like choking people with the bowstring, and like there's again the choreography's on another level. So what do you, I guess generally, what do we
Yes.
think of this whole? It's a long sequence too, because we have like
It-
the lobby, the glass
and-
cases.
and beyond that, Mike, yes, it's worth it to
30
say the landscape of everything is like we're walking through a freezer. You're seeing like traditional Yakuza guys like
Mhm.
drinking a bunch of sake,
Smoking
like doing a
cigs.
bunch of like honor bows to him and stuff, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're watching them gear up, and it's totally different gear than everybody else. They're getting like hatchets and swords and stuff. You're watching two sumo wrestler bodyguards, like prepare to fend people off.
Yep.
Like the influences now where you're just like, I mean, again, I guess it's kind of worth to say, the director thinking like, this might be the last time we do this. Like you kind of get the feeling that he's just like, I don't know, like, of course there should be samurai in it. Like, of course there should be sumo wrestlers. He's like, oh, every type of person should fight John Wick in this movie. Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a great way to sort of open the action. There's neon lighting everywhere.
It's
just like very well
gorgeous.
shot. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
location, I mean, if that's not real, I would love to go to that club. If it's something, if
Yeah.
it's just stages that they created for this, the set designer is amazing what they accomplished for this.
Oh yeah, when you see John
Yeah.
on the roof with that cherry blossom, man, that's like such a striking shot. And then just even the interiors, the glass case room with all the artifacts and stuff. It's really really well done.
Yeah.
You're getting good comedy of that guy can't come here. Wherever he comes, there's death. Right, of course. John, how are you? That's
Yeah,
how
how
he
you doing?
immediately goes to a meeting with his
Right.
best friend.
Yeah.
And then in addition to the high table forces, we also have Donnie Yen showing up,
Mhm.
who's on a mission to kill John Wick. He is blind, as we mentioned. He has a cane, and his fighting style is that the blind master trope
Yes.
of
Mhm.
he's feeling around with his cane. He's putting doorbells on things,
That
so he
was
knows
really
when people
fun,
walk
the
by.
doorbells.
Yeah, motion
Incredible.
sensors and stuff. Like,
But yeah, it's
it was
the
awesome.
blind swordsman trope. But yeah, it's very cool. He's got a sword in his cane, like a straight, more Chinese style straight sword, I guess, than a curved katana. So we're getting a lot of references to many things. But yeah, he's a blind swordsman trope. I love the little doorbells to like let him know where enemies were, and he's just tearing it
Yeah.
up with a,
And he's like Daredevil. His other senses are heightened because he's blind, so he can use the sound and all kinds of things to know where people are.
Yeah, how
Kinda-
deadly was this guy before he gave up his eyes?
Exactly,
Right.
man. Wild. He's got his turtleneck though. He's out here rocking it. Him and John have a really
Hell
good
yeah, he's looking super
back and forth
stylish.
for
Is that
a
a-
bit.
Is that a bulletproof turtleneck? Is that Kevlar, Mike?
I
It's
hope so.
gotta be, yeah. But then
He's just wearing
so
this white turtleneck with like Prada shades most of the movie, just looking super cool.
he looks really cool. Yeah,
He looks
Yeah.
incredible.
His whole personality, shut the fuck up. You know, it's just like,
I was saying to Jacob in our car ride home, which I'll keep referencing because I would not shut up apparently this whole car ride. But now, Mike, when we're introduced to Donnie Yen and he's listening to his daughter play on the violin, he has this shaggy hair. He's kind of dirty. You know, he's just kind of like we said. He's retired. He's kind of laid back. He's whatever. He gets this cleaned up transformation when he goes to killer mode where he looks so good. I was remarking to Jacob, every photo we see of the Baba Yaga in this quote unquote John Wick, like when you're watching the lady track him later and his movement and stuff, and they're using sort of this headshot of him to sort of, you know, triangulate his location and sort of keep the audience abreast. To me, that must be the last photo people have of the Baba Yaga before he retired. The long hair that we know Keanu famous for this franchise in particular, that is the unkept, gross John Wick. And he just never cleaned himself up because, like, if the daughter was dead, Donnie Yen wouldn't get the haircut. But the fact that John Wick's wife's gone, he does not care. And like we keep saying, this whole movie is literally, I have something to live for. You have nothing to live for. There's a difference in how we're approaching this world now because of that worldview.
yeah, the
and I
line
always
is,
thought that.
well, just to quote Donnie Yen on underlining Colin's point, you know, good death can only happen after a good life. That's kind of the
Right.
theming, right? But go ahead.
No,
Jake.
yeah, that's kind of been his whole arc through these 4 movies is that his wife was his reason to live, and after she died, he got this puppy that was like, kind of, something to live for, I guess, or to protect.
A representation of her
Yes,
love.
and then when
Yeah.
that puppy was killed, it just broke him, and he's like, the only thing I had to live for now is to get revenge. So once he finishes his revenge, I always thought that it probably would end with, spoiler alert, maybe foreshadowing him dying. Like I always thought that was the natural conclusion to his arc, is that once he's accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, he would just die basically because he has nothing else to live for.
And seeing where he's come in this journey, really his, and this is a point that this is perfect, Jacob, actually leading up to the end of the Osaka segment. We can always go back and touch on stuff, but the finale of that is John is always bringing in people, and it's always bad for them. You know,
anyone he touches basically is at risk of basically dying.
Yeah,
he's kind of cursed in that way.
Yes.
Yep. So that happens here, and Akira, Shimazu's daughter, isn't happy that John Wick's there. She's like, I fucking knew it, right? And she even tells her dad, and he's like, no, I'm gonna be loyal to my guy. And then at the end, we get Donnie Yen versus Hiroyuki Sanada, and it's an awesome fight, but that doesn't turn out too great for
and he's already
John Wick's
injured,
buddy.
so it's like, he's at a disadvantage going up against Donnie Yen. It's a good fight, but ultimately Donnie Yen's just too powerful for him. And now his daughter has this revenge grudge against Donnie Yen for killing her dad. So
and we don't
kind of makes the cycle repeat.
Correct. So she's mad about that, even though like Donnie Yen and John Wick are kind of buddies. It's this cycle, and she's kind of gone for the rest of the plot until the end, when we'll bring up some stuff where this might be going in the future. But yeah, she's really pissed off by that. She's mad at John. She's mad at Donnie Yen. Like this whole thing could have been avoided if we just didn't bring John Wick over here. So she is not pleased, but I do need to say she did a great job with the action in this. I really think
her choreography was great.
Too.
It's very dancerly. Yeah, it's very like graceful and just like
she has some sort of single. Mike, you said she's a British pop star. Is that correct? Or rapper?
Yeah, she's like a singer. It's like a British singer. She did the end credit song for this movie as well, which will be in the.
Oh my god, that's incredible! That was a very good song. She has a music video called. Gotcha. She has a music video, I believe, called X that Chad Stileski said he saw, and there is combat in it, dance while performing, and she said those are the 3 things this character needs to be able to pull that off. That's incredible. So, like we said, she's making her debut in this. I thought she was great.
Crushes it.
And even her scenes with Hiroyuki Sanada when they're just talking, like she's delivering her lines really well, and just like. Yeah, I liked it.
And there's good writing too, like him saying like, why do I have penciled in like a dinner with my daughter? And we don't know their relationship yet.
Yeah,
she's sort of implying, being like, because your daughter misses you and wants to spend time with you. He's like, okay.
Yeah. No, that stuff is sweet. And even though it's kind of just in the beginning act, like again, it hints at this larger world of this Osaka side. Like there's so much cool stuff. And she's a great character, and we'll get to the end credit stuff. But maybe the song An Eye for an Eye is more literal than we'd realize. But I hope we see more of her character. We'll see where this goes. But that's, Osaka, John's on the run again, and he Got his buddy killed again.
Yeah.
good.
So he has
Not
to
good.
Time to
leave.
go.
Leaves Japan, goes up and meets with. Is this when he meets with Ian McShane and stuff, and the Bower King, Lawrence Fishburne, and
They're going to Germany now.
We
Yeah.
should say
Yeah.
we introduced the Marquis, but his sort of side of the story is at this point he has destroyed our beloved Continental, which itself has become excommunicado, as brought on by Clancy Brown's Harbinger character.
Yes.
The Marquis is using the resources of the High Table to corner and trap John Wick. He has nothing that he can't use at his disposal. It's just endless, right? The Marquis.
He's
And
off the leash. Yeah.
he's off the leash. He's punished our beloved manager, Ian McShane's character, by taking away Sharon, the concierge. He has killed Lance Reddick in the opening act, devastating everyone alive right now because it is so absolutely tragic. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wild situation. That, like we
Yeah,
get
and he is.
a death scene is his last scene on this
Yes.
movie.
And just to say about Lance Reddick, he was such a incredible actor. Everything he was in, he just really elevated, even if it was a small part or anything. Like he was just had such a presence that I just loved him anytime he was in anything. So
Even in
R.I.P.
Netflix's Resident Evil, he's the best thing in it. Like,
I
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And Jacob, we used to weekly watch together American Horror Story. I didn't know this. One of the last seasons you and I watched together, the Witches one, you know, the one with the girl school of magical witches.
Sure.
He plays the Voodoo King Papa Legba for 30
Oh.
seconds in a scene with Angela Bassett. I didn't
Yeah.
know it was him. That has stuck with me since I watched it. That character is so good. So to find that out when he passed, I'm just like, oh, like you said, everything this guy touched. It's insane.
And he was in a show that I love, The Wire, one of the best shows ever made. And it really sucks, losing two actors from that, both young, not super old, before they should have, gone. Michael K. Williams and Lance Reddick. And it's just really tough because he was the police captain in that, and he just had such a commanding presence in every scene that he was in. He was like 25% of the reason why that show was good. So it's just crazy that 60, far too young, and he was in great shape too, which is why it's like scary because you just never know. You could have some kind of heart defect or what even the cause of death was. I don't know, but it just reminds you,
tragic.
Now,
life is finite. But anyways, yes.
In revenge to this incredible loss of Sharon, Winston, our manager, Ian McShane's character, is just so devastated and so just aghast of everything going on that he concocts the plan with John of a duel. You will do a duel against the Marquis. Two members sponsored, by families can accomplish this. And as we know, of course, it is not just that John Wick is excommunicado. He's also had his ticket pulled, cut,
Torn?
punched. What was it? What word
Torn.
did they
Torn.
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 There's
It's different than a
mythos here,
marker.
yes.
Yeah.
He has had his ticket torn, which of course means he has lost the affiliation of a major crime family, which again, you're never, what we should say we love, or at least I love personally, is that you're never fully getting the outline of what all these rules mean, but you're inferring things like, right, so if you've lost sponsorship from one of these major families that involves you in all the crime business, then you cannot partake in the crime business.
You've lost the favor of the gods, essentially. The
And
cult of Athena. You got to go join that now, right? If you want to get in.
Mike, it's
The
so
world
good. I
building-
love
I love
it.
it.
I think a sign of good world building in like a franchise like this is that it hints at this larger scale and scope of the world, but you don't see everything. It's focused on this story of John Wick, but also it's just hinting at all this larger stuff going on, which just makes it really intriguing.
Yeah, so one of the aspects we learn here is there's a way to get back into a family. You can get kind of brought back in. So that's what spurns them to go to Germany. We need to get you in a family so you can say, hey, Marquis, 1v1 me, scrub. Yeah.
In Chapter 3, Parabellum, John Wick is revealed to actually be Giovanni. Giordani Jovanovic.
Yes.
I believe
Oh.
is
He's
his real name. He is a
Belarusian. He's born in Belarus or whatever, and raised by the Ruska Roma.
The Ruscaroma, and that is a
Nice.
real major collective, predominantly of the largest collection of Romani people, I believe, in Europe. So if I'm saying any of this
Right.
wrong, since it is sort of a real group,
Mhm.
fully
Yeah.
apologize. I want everyone to know we're talking about the fictional Ruscaroma in
Of
the
course,
John
we
Wick universe.
see
Mhm.
Angelica Houston in the third movie playing sort of the matriarch of his family. She's the one who tears his ticket. She's training these ballerinas.
And
Yeah,
that's a
pretty
spin-off we're
cool.
getting with Ana de Armas.
That's right,
so
exactly. And
That's
tearing the
right.
ticket in this instance
the
is what
universe
bought
exists.
him the freedom to travel to Casablanca and to go to this other continental to get the help of Halle Berry, who had a marker on. Watch that movie, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But that sets up this point, which is now, well, but Winston, I'm not part of the Ruscarome anymore. How could I challenge the high table?
Yes.
And Winston incites him to go to Germany and go to the head of the Ruscaroma, where they are all, go home, Jonathan. Go home to your family.
Let's get home, Jonathan.
And to return, that was pretty good. To return to his people to somehow earn a place back, a replacement ticket, I guess, which would allow him to duel the Marquis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so what he has to do is basically finds out that the head of this tribe was recently killed by Scott Adkins, of course, this German guy that we're gonna
Named
meet.
Killa.
What was his name?
Killa.
Killa.
He was killed
Okay,
by
yeah, I missed
Killa,
that.
and now
Killa
she
the
took
Killer.
over. Yeah.
Yes, and
Uh,
this is his sort of adopted sister, and I don't know this actress's name. Please enlighten us, Jake. 'Cause
Natalia
this lady
Tena.
rocked.
She was in Game of Thrones. She played the wildling lady that hangs out with Bran.
She's not Harry
and
Potter too, isn't she?
She was in Harry
Tonks?
Potter. She was Tonks in Harry Potter as well.
A huge
yeah.
character.
Yeah.
People love
Fan favorite.
Tonks. We love this actor. She's great. And what a performance where she comes in and you're immediately like, oh yeah, that is John Wick's sister. Like
Yeah,
she's
badass.
like the
tattooed up,
energy
like,
is
like they all
perfect.
are, with the
Yeah.
Russian accent and everything. And like you said, and she's got this great scene where John Wick's in this noose and they're like torturing him with this noose basically.
They're
Just to have a
reverse hanging
conversation
him.
with him.
They're pulling him up. He is
Yeah.
seated and
His feet are
he's getting
tied down,
strangled up. It is fascinating.
Yeah, but essentially, this is a video game now, and they're like, okay, you got to do one quest for us, and we'll let you in. So that's why he has to go and meet Scott Adkins, Killa, and that's where we get our next kind of big action scene.
Yeah, he's playing this crazy German character, fat suit, gold teeth, crazy like white suit, like this degenerate gambler kind of guy. And we got our next big action set piece set in this Berlin nightclub that is like insane looking, right?
I want to pause you guys for 1 second to talk about Scott Adkins. Are either of you guys familiar with his work?
Only vaguely.
A little
if
bit,
you could
yeah.
enlighten me.
Yeah.
I'm a big action movie fan, and for a long time, people always say things like, "Why isn't there a new Jean-Claude Van Damme or Arnold or Sly or Dolph or these lower tier action stars?" And the truth is, the model has changed so much that there's not necessarily these direct to DVD action stars anymore, but there are direct to streamers, and there is the red box action hero that is Scott Adkins. I mean, he is like a Jean-Claude. He is an incredible martial arts performer who primarily is known for his franchise Undisputed, which is like an MMA in prison movie. Like he fights Quentin Rampage Jackson in one of them. They're not great. But he also takes over the Universal Soldier franchise from Jean-Claude, and who's in with him as well in those films. And I think those are great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I did see some press with Keanu Reeves where they asked him like, oh, what was it like to work with these like two great MMA masters like Hiroyuki Sanada and Donnie Yen? He's like, I have to correct you. It's 3. You're forgetting about Scott Adkins, who's also like this MMA, legend. So yeah, it's pretty high praise from Keanu.
Great.
For years, people would just do these fan casts of, well, if Batman's the greatest martial arts in DC, Scott Adkins should play Batman. And it's fun for fans to say, but the reality is he is one of these made for TV movie stars. Like he never really was going to be a big box office draw or do these things.
Right.
Now, when he finally got cast in a comic book movie, he played like henchman number 3 in the first Doctor Strange film, where he plays. Do you guys remember the fight where he astro projects out of his body and has to fight one of the other followers? That's Scott Adkins. People were like, Marvel's wasting him. He needs to. I'm not kidding about what I'm about to say. He needs to come back and be the Black Panther. People will be like, the Black Panther, he's a white guy. And they'll be like, well, he should be the guy in the suit playing the book because he should be a martial arts. And you just be like, look, I understand what you people want. It's never going to work. And I truly thought that forever. And now here we are in a huge blockbuster where he doesn't kind of get to look like himself, but he does get to do Scott Adkins stuff.
Yeah.
That's what's hilarious is like, we're going to put him in this movie, but he's going to have this crazy like makeup and fat suit. And it reminded me a lot of Colin Farrell, the Penguin in Batman. Colin Farrell.
Penguin energy.
Yeah. We just need to have someone come in and wear like a crazy fat suit in every action movie, I guess.
Again, yeah, it's a comic book now, and we get it. We do get a cool scene at the card table. You know, we get that's classic Western, right? We get a game of cards, 100%. Right? With
all our heroes together, Mike. Absolutely.
Good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, we have John Wick. We have Kane and the Tracker all there. Dog's there, and they're doing the card thing. Obviously, it doesn't go the way they want, and then a big fight breaks out.
Big fight,
which,
and
the big surprise is Scott Adkins is surprisingly limber for a man of his stature.
Yeah,
you know?
And he's fighting, and it's hilarious how people are just dancing. It's like a crazy rave.
It's another
people
dance club
like
murder
crazy,
party. Yeah,
while people are just getting murdered around them, and they're just like, we don't care.
Hey man, clubbing in Germany is different. You know, they're built different.
Yeah. But again, another crazy location. Lots of like water features and stuff, and like different ways they use the environment. They like, get thrown through glass and off, ledges and whatnot.
Yep.
And
filmed
just really cool choreography.
The water and silhouette. Yeah, great. Another great action scene.
We find out that Killa was tipped off by the Rescaroma that John Wick was coming. Your family sold you out because they want favor from me, and you're like, oh, okay, wow. Yeah. And John does what he does. He kills Killa. Nothing stops him. You can tell people that he's coming. No. It doesn't matter.
No.
He's the Baba Yaga.
He's the Baba Yaga. He takes this trophy of these golden teeth we've been seeing so prominently because, of course, the Rescaroma said, bring back proof of his death. And when he returns, he gets his ticket reinstated. Now, this is the process we learn that he is resealed. He is given another seal or sigil of their family, which is this burning urn that you have to like jam your skin onto. Fucking rules.
And I've seen
so John's missing a finger. He's like got a
give a finger as payment before.
Third-degree burns all over. Yeah. There was a martial arts movie I saw. I can't remember the name, but it was like the final trial was the burning cauldron, like trial of spirit, and you had to with both arms and then lift it up. And then put it down, and that was like you would have been.
Oh, that
branded.
might be Kickboxer.
It could be that something like that, but it's definitely a reference to something. And having Scott Adkins here to just underline this really quick, this series is like a love letter to action movies, and like, you got a who's who, and it's who's who did you never hear of that you should have Scott Adkins. So like they're clearly fans of the genre and bringing in everybody they think is relevant.
Yeah.
So great stuff.
So he gets his ticket reinstated. Goes to Paris to meet with the Marquis, and he's like, I want to kill you. Marquis wants to kill him, obviously.
They set up the
they agree to a duel.
I don't know if you know this.
Too.
I want to kill you.
Yes.
Yeah. There's an old rule, and then the Harbinger's like, technically he's right. It's an old rule. And the Marquis is like, well, shit,
And to which he says, well, I know another old rule. I can call in a substitute. I can tag in my friend over here. And he reinstates his champion, Kane, who, of course, is still following him to this point, but they just keep evading each other, and Mr. Nobody as well.
Yeah, and Kane is hired by the Marquis as well as Mr. Nobody. That's the whole thing to kill John Wick, but Kane doesn't want to do it. He's like, no, I don't want to fucking do that. And he's basically forced to by, again, this contract that he has. And then they have these cards. Yeah.
Go ahead. The cards are setting up the circumstances of the duel, correct?
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yes.
I thought that was a very cool scene where they're like,
yes.
What time do you want to fight? And each contestant says what they prefer, and then they turn over cards, and whoever has the highest number wins that. And then they say like, oh, what method of fighting, like swords, pistols, and that kind of
But Jacob, it's not like that, because the only thing that's missing from these movies is I love to hear the other options. I love when they do say, like, is it going to be swords, pistols, tridents, hand grenades? And you're
tridents.
sort of like, whoa, what if he'd picked hand grenades? But no,
Yeah.
instead it's just sort of, what do you think? And it's just these very shrewd, curt
Pencils.
answers from both of them. Yes, pencils would have been
That
incredible.
would have been great if it was on the list.
Pencils. Yeah.
Just
We do get
throws
one.
it.
He's got a lot of experience with pencils.
That would be incredible. Donnie Yen gets a pencil
Donnie
too in
Yen,
this too.
Donnie Yen does an homage
Yeah.
in this one to his best friend. He's like, I got you, fam.
He's the one who
But
taught
they
him.
settle on, dueling pistols at 30 paces. Classic, obviously another Western homage, the duel at dawn. You'll love to
so-
see it, right?
Once that's set, then it's like, okay, Dawn, we're gonna do this thing. And meanwhile, the Marquis like, all right, I'm gonna send everybody I have after you to make it so that you do not arrive on time. Because if you don't arrive
Yes.
on time, you're fucked. So he's sending
Now-
everything he
this is-
has at John.
Mike, but
Yeah, a little-
this is where it's
Why
getting
did John
hazy
pick
for
something
me.
that high up?
Yeah, absolutely. But why
Yeah.
is Mr. Nobody calling to negotiate for what should essentially be his own private rate? But instead he's like, no, keep putting that bounty up higher and higher to incentivize everyone to go after him.
Because
That
that
it's
means
not
nothing
worth
to
it to
Mr.
him
Nobody.
at the level it's at. It's like 18 million. He's like, I want it to be higher, so I get more money when I kill him. So he's trying to get the price raised.
But
He's like,
just
that's for
you
me. Don't
say,
give everybody 40
hire
million.
I think-
me.
I think
Me.
Marquis is bound by the rules of the high table to be like, you have to
Okay.
pay, you get the bounty.
That's
of
an
what the high
answer.
table set that,
I
right?
appreciate that answer, Jake. That's a
I mean, that's what I
perfectly plausible
assume
answer.
since he's part of the whole system,
He's
right?
he's still under them.
He's above
you know,
the
he's-
table, or he's under the table. Yeah.
He's their proxy. But so the whole city's after John, and this is where we get some of the most exciting action sequences I've ever seen. There's like maybe three
Yes.
key ones, but this is also a reference to the Warriors. We get little assassin radio. Hey, assassins,
Yeah.
we got some John Wickington to go get. You know, and
He's in
Like,
this location. He's at the
ooh,
Arc de
cats.
Triumph, and no
Oh
one
my-
has killed him yet.
Boppers know that if you're
this
a
song's
snooty
real
French guy,
Slayer, yeah, some shit like that. But so yeah, we get these.
Well, this is
finale sequence.
this is what's confusing to me, though. So
Yeah,
I appreciate the action set piece of it all, but
plot.
so they
let's go.
meet beforehand, and then John Wick leaves, and then he has to come back, but he has to walk through like the whole city of Paris.
they're
to come
not.
back
He
to
has
this
to.
church.
He has to get to the location because they are
Yeah.
not at the location. The place that
But
they
the
choose.
Marquis ends up at the location, and he didn't have to like walk through the city and kill a bunch
He,
of
there's
people.
no bounty on him.
He's not, in trouble. Yeah.
But that's what I don't understand. Like, why this is the closest they
Why
can get. They
set
take
the
a
duel?
boat, and Ian McShane drops him off. But like, that's the closest you could get. I didn't.
Well,
understand
he no. Excuse me.
Yes.
You're jumping over all the things I want to talk about, which is the Bowery
course.
King comes back. He
Yes.
says his fourth line in this movie, earning him fourth billing. God bless you, Lawrence Fishburne. Your agent must be fucking phenomenal. That is incredible.
He just
You're paying
found
for
Keanu.
Morpheus and Neo talking. Like
Yeah.
that is what you're paying for.
Yeah.
And he says, "Here's your suit." And
Somebody get
we-
this man a gun.
somebody get this man a gun, and then he shows him off the best killing weapon ever introduced, apparently.
Yeah.
And they get on this boat,
Viper.
and it truly seems like at this point, screenwriter Shay Hayton, who came onto this franchise last film in a writing capacity, and is now also writing the Ballerina spinoff. But of course, we know him for being the sole credited screenwriter on Zack Snyder's Zombie Las Vegas extravaganza.
Oh,
Maybe
of
not my
course.
favorite screenwriter to
Someone needed to
exist,
pay
but I
off a boat.
enjoy his John Wick fare.
Mhm.
Seems like his memory is jogged to be like, you know what? We should mention John Wick's wife here. It's like if we're about to land this plane, let's bring it full circle, right?
Yeah. Well, she was kind of the anchor of at least the beginning of his arc. He's sort of moved past that now because it's just gotten to this scale of like everyone's out to get him stuff, but that's still kind of his anchor to like,
Yes.
wanting to get revenge, and that's now extended to like he wants to kill the entire high table to basally get revenge.
He
for his
wants to
wife's
kill the world. And again, conceptually, you can feel the screenwriters being like, well, what does that mean exactly? And they're like, right. It's like,
Yeah.
we do
Right.
have to, manifest the high table somehow as somebody. But in this moment, we get this great exchange with Winston, the Bowery King, and John Wick, where Winston confesses putting something on Sharon's headstone has been like the struggle he's been going through. And what he landed on was a good friend. And of course, the Bowery King wants us to know that his will say, "Long live the king," because of course he is the Bowery King.
Absolutely.
And
King.
we get this incredible
Well, we get what John wants, right?
we get this incredible moment where John admits what he wants. And again, it is the full circle of the franchise. It is him saying his heart and desire is that he's a good husband. He hopes he would be a good husband, and that's a loving husband. That's what he would like it to say.
Yeah, and this really harkens back to the beginning of the franchise when you see his wife's gravestone. It says "loving wife" on it. Helen Wick, loving wife. So he wants his to say "loving husband." They'll be next to each other.
Baba Yaga, yeah. No, and then we hear the Bowery King. A man needs to look his best, whether he's getting married or buried. And it's like, okay, what's gonna happen?
I'm so glad you reminded me of that, Mike, because that is truly one of the best lines ever. And just
That's
for
his
that,
third
Lawrence
one.
Fishburne, he earned that billing just
And he
for
essentially
that.
goes from a black suit with a black shirt to a black suit with a white shirt with a black tie.
Correct.
To Mike's cowboy motif. It is, and we're losing the turtleneck on Kang, and he is also going to the full traditional route. And it is these two white knights who have to face each other despite
don't want to kill each other. Yeah.
Despite the conflict ahead of them. They're not fighting over a princess or a queen or anything. They are two men who are fighting with honor against a cause that they don't believe in, unfortunately. Yes, because of bad circumstances. And it's beautiful.
And we see in the opening of the film, John's in the all black suit chasing people in all white. So like it's already indicating, hey, maybe he's gone too far with this whole revenge thing, and I think it's a conscious choice, like you said, Jacob, that he finally, like Luke Skywalker, that little triangle of white in Return of the Jedi, the white shirt.
And again, you feel that you almost get John Wick saying Java, like as he's like Jen Selesky's like, yeah, fucking put it in. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I love it. I love the symbolism.
Yes.
Again, like huge Western motifs and everything. So I love it. But he's got to travel across all of Paris. He's got to go through the Arc de Triomphe. He's got to go through all these iconic locations in Paris, eventually culminating in a giant staircase that seemingly goes on forever that he's got to climb up, get thrown down, climb up again, fight a bunch of people. And like you said, some of the best, and we didn't even mention the best sequence, the overhead extended one-take shot, right?
Climax, I mean, we get the cars, we get John Wick drifting while shooting a gun with no doors.
Incredible.
That's right. And I saw him behind the scenes doing that for real. Like he was literally doing that.
Keanu, famously a huge car and motorcycle enthusiast, loves driving and stuff.
He gets to do both in this, a motorcycle and a car.
I wondered if this was his brand, the two motorcycles we see. But let's stay on this. I'll let you guys finish your action rant on this stuff, but just real quick on the Keanu behind the scenes front. Now, very famously, a clip shared on news media of the first look at John Wick Chapter 4 was, can you believe what a good person Keanu Reeves is? Here's footage bystanders took of him carrying film equipment stuff up this strange location. They keep walking up these stairs, and it seems like they're just going up and down. And when I think about now that like we all saw that and what it culminates to in the movie, I'm like, that is so incredible. It's so fun. Well, what a nice guy.
I saw that on Twitter like after I saw the movie, and people were talking about it. And some people are like, oh, people shouldn't just thank him. Like, that's like the bare minimum. And then it's like, no, it's really not. Like, most actors
if you've been on a film set, no. It's legally, a lot of them can't because of it's kind of against union rules. You have to be this sort of certain level to
touch gear,
to help.
Not my department. It's something you hear a lot.
Yes, but being number one on the call sheet helps to be able to say, I have influence and power. And a lot of people just usually do that as, didn't you see the In-N-Out truck I ordered for you guys? Good night when I'm rapping 6 hours before you peasants.
Up that huge hill with all the stairs. Like, if I was a crew on that film, I'd be so like happy. I'd be like,
I would be talking about it for the rest of my life. What a nice guy he is.
So my French is bad, but this is the Sacré-Cœur. And it's 220 steps. I just had to look it up. I don't know something.
Damn.
So not only the scene is crazy, but carrying gear up, we've done
multiple nights.
Yeah.
You filmed that over multiple nights, multiple takes, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so credit to him, nice guy. And he also got everybody like gifts every like crew member gifts after this was done. So like,
what a great guy.
Nice guy.
Keanu.
Great guy.
We love you.
But I'm playing the most unstoppable badass. Like, thank God he is a nice guy in real life, because if he wanted to, he could actually assassinate all of us. Like, he is that good at
100%.
these. That's how much he trains to go with, like, also
Yes,
his
of
stunt
course.
work. Like, he's incredibly good at martial arts
Probably the
and the
best
gun.
at reloading guns in the world, probably. Like
I
no
would
one can
say.
reload a gun like him, right?
I would
But
even
he
say
can also do
holding.
stunt driving. He could do
Yeah.
sword stuff
Yeah.
from 47 Ronin. Like, his whole career
was
is
reading-
built
Ride
up
a
to this.
horse. He can use nunchucks. We didn't even say the
He can use
nunchucks.
nunchucks. The best
using
nunchuck
nunchucks.
fight.
I read online that he did like 95% of his own stunts on this one. The one thing he
He's
didn't
57?
do. Yeah, he's getting old. He's like Tom
He's
Cruise. He loves to do his own
57?
stunts. But he is getting older. The one thing he didn't
Donnie Yen's
do
old, too.
is the big scene where he falls down all the steps forever. Which is a
Okay.
hilarious scene, of course.
Dog.
yeah.
Yeah. Incredible.
Our
Let's-
audience got nervous about it. People were
keeps going.
upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
It's-
let's take this time and break down our action set pieces. Yeah.
Like you said, we start with the cars, Drift King.
People
then it
getting hit
moves
by
to this-
cars, all kinds of crazy shit going on. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
But eventually moves to this indoor location where it starts. It's a tracking shot. I'm assuming using Steadicam or something,
drone
but it
even.
moves to an overhead shot. And it's like a video game. Like it's like a top-down video game where you're going through this whole building and he's just fucking annihilating people. He's got the Dragon's Breath shotgun thing that's
yep.
just like lighting, like he's like shooting
An
fireworks. at
emulsive
people. They're
ammunition that just
exploding.
ignites you the
Lighting
second it hits
stuntmen
you.
on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yes.
It is
It's
a
a
video
But doing-
game.
incredible
but-
one-take scene.
But still doing the John Wick thing of the action that you've come to know, and like Jacob said, so many films have repeated of the confirmation kills. Sometimes it's not enough that he's hitting you with the dragon's breath and part of you is going off. He'll still get that headshot. He'll still
Yeah.
finish you when you're on the
That's
ground.
the
The
John Wick way.
precision, the tactical, yes, it just
Double
feels
tap.
everything feels so direct and purposeful.
And when you
Yeah.
have this top-down view, like this is probably like one of the standout action scenes I've ever seen. Like you can really
Ever.
tell the
Oh, yeah.
geography of who's approaching him and what angles are threats, and to see him respond and tactically like position himself in a big one take, it's incredible.
To
Yeah.
be
And
clever
obviously they
enough
built this
to
whole
shoot
set.
through walls.
Yeah, they built this whole set for this, obviously, and he's doing destruction to the set, like while he's because that gun is fucking just destroying walls and stuff. And to think they did this one take, like that would have been so hard to shoot. Like I wonder how many takes it took to get the right one. You know?
I can't.
I had written in my notes that I initially said, you know what? I think the stairs fight is our answer to Old Boy's hallway.
Hallway.
But you know what?
Mm.
This is probably even more impressive in some ways. Just this
From a technical
top-down
standpoint, it's super
incredible.
Yeah.
impressive just to plan all that out, choreography,
It's a oneer.
fire effects, destruction of the set. It's like to get everything just right. Like it would have been so hard to shoot.
If
like,
it's a programmed crane, if it's a drone, I would love to know. It just seems like whoever created it was like, and I'll take my paycheck now. This is the thing I contributed to film history. Thank you very much.
Like,
Yeah.
get Chad some bigger directing gigs. Do you see what he's doing? Right, that scene is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
yeah,
And it just keeps ramping up. You thought cars were crazy, then this oneer, and then we get the stairs. And that's the whole thing in itself. Donnie Yen is essentially like, yo, dude, I don't want to kill you, right? But you got to get up these stairs before
yeah.
sunrise or you're fucked.
he
So
helps
Donnie
him.
Yen's kind of helping him at this point ascend.
The futility of he gets to the bottom of the stairs, and so the last thing he has to do before he gets to this church, he looks up at all the stairs, and it's just endless stairs, and then he sees a bunch of guys show up. He's like, not only am I going to have to climb all these stairs, I'm going to have to fight all these guys. And it's just like he's just like sighs, and it's just like, man, John Wick is really going through it.
And he's going crazy. Like the gun choreography, him and Kane are working together. He like runs out of bullets at one point and like throws the slide of the gun at a guy and then stabs him with the frame of the gun, because that
Yes.
gun in real life is very sharp. I looked it up and it's like, it's wild.
Incredible.
And he gets to the top and you're like, okay. And then boom, knocked to the bottom. And
Falls
it's the
down.
longest tumbling scene. The whole
He
theater
tumbles,
went
just
dead
keeps
silent.
going and going.
We were
It's
all
this extended
crushed.
take.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the bottom, and then that's when Donnie Yen shows up and is
Yeah.
you need to get up. You need to get to the church.
Yep.
And
They do it,
Yeah.
but it's
They do it.
Wild. Yeah, so they're working together. But that stairs scene was so hard when he falls back down.
Yeah,
God.
and we also get the sort of captain of these high table guys is this like big burly guy who shows up a
Yes.
bunch of times.
The
Yeah, one-
Marquis' right-hand man.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's the one who shoots at the stalker's dog, which then or the tracker, whatever his name
Mhm.
is, Mr. Nobody.
Yep.
So that culminates in Nobody showing up and killing this guy. And it's very satisfying where he's like, "Don't fuck with my dog," right?
Yep. Tracker's got a very cool, like, lever action, modern looking rifle. It's like this weird
Yeah.
mix of, it's again Western, it's like the rifleman, it's very cool.
He seems to be able to Lego it into different ranges that he wants
Yeah,
to
it's like
use,
almost like a
right?
sawed-off
Close up,
shotgun
long
at one
away.
Modular, yeah. It's
Yeah.
wild. But a very, very cool weapon. So
So it all
he's kind of John
culminates-
saved. John saved his dog,
Yeah.
so he's like, all right, I'm cool with you. And we get to the soccer
like,
court.
"You're
We're gonna
all
do the
right
duel,
now."
and he just grabs a beer and watches it. He's
just
in the
hanging
audience
out.
at this point. I'm
Fuck
gonna see
you.
these
I'm
two
gonna watch.
legends.
That's exactly what I want to say. It is that moment of like, if you just happen to be on the subway with Spielberg and Scorsese, like having a conversation, and like your stop came up, you were like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay on the subway for a minute. Like
Exactly.
you just to be around it, he's going to be talking about this for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and he sort of gained
absolutely.
a respect for John Wick. He doesn't really want to kill him now, even not for 20 million, but
Yeah.
So they
I'm
all
sure
meet up at the
Kane
church.
has a reputation too. Like this is all shit. He's kind of new to the scene of the assassin
Yeah.
underworld, but it's like these are legend. Like you said, Scorsese and Spielberg. So yeah, we're up here and we're gonna do the dueling
Clancy
pistols.
Brown as the extractor, or whatever the hell.
adjudicator, or the-
No, he's
And
the
the third one is the
demolisher, or whatever the
adjudicator, yeah.
fuck it is. Who's sometimes remembering that he has this prosthetic scar over his eye, is sometimes remembering to shut his eye. Says, "You've come here in time, me mateys. Gar, 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 SpongeBob.
We got
it's
these
time
pistols
for
from
the
time
duel."
machine. Can I say quickly on this duel?
Yeah.
It's thematically, I like to overthink stuff. It's one of my favorite things to do. They're using the dueling pistols, so like an older style weapon, and I just think that's such a cool touch to take this franchise that's known for tactical reloads and AR-15s and shit, and just finish it with a dueling pistol. And the fact that
A
they're like familiar
single
with them-
shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they load the shot in. It's very traditional, which is like the high table thing. They're all about these traditions and rules and
And it just lends to the world of like John Wick knows how to handle a dueling pistol because why wouldn't he?
Yeah,
like
of
he's
course.
they're
They
all
all
familiar
do.
with this shit, but he does get stabbed in the hand by Donnie Yen. We got to say, he's like, I owed you one. So John Wick gets stabbed in
Yes.
his right hand, which means he's got a duel with his left hand. So he's at a slight disadvantage, but again, Donnie Yen is blind, so I think Keanu's still at an advantage.
Yeah.
But neither of
So
them
we
want to
gotta
kill
go
each other.
30
So here's their
paces.
situation. Yeah, go ahead, Jacob.
yeah. So they start at 30 paces. They each shoot one shot, and then if they don't die, then you move up 10 paces. Do it again. If you don't die, do it again. 10 paces. So basically, you have 3 chances because by the time you're at 10 paces, it's like that's about to be
Yeah.
it.
That's arm's length. So we
so yeah,
get
they
2 or
sh-
3 rounds of this. We get a miss. We get a grazing blow and a lot of tension. They take their time
Yeah,
with
well, they're
it.
basically
and,
shooting each other in non-lethal areas. Their
Yeah.
suits are getting these red splotches now where they've been shot, and they end up they're 10 paces away. And on the last one, Donnie Yen hits him, but John Wick, he doesn't fire.
He goes
it's
down.
not super noticeable, but he never fires his gun. Right? He goes down. Now the Marquis, Bill Skarsgård, is like, "All right, let me finish him off."
Yeah.
Donnie Yen, give me the damn pistol. I'm about
You're
to do the
clear
killing
of
blow.
your duties. Your daughter's fine. The high table
It is
honor
my
you
right of coup de grace.
to get the kill
Right.
shot. Yep.
Goes up. He's about to kill Keanu. He's like, and then it's Donnie Yen that says it, right? He's like, "You idiot."
No,
You
it's
never fire."
Winston.
Oh,
It's Winston who
Yeah.
says, "You fucking idiot." And the Marquis like, what? He's like, "You vain piece of shit. He
Yeah.
hasn't shot his shot yet." And the Marquis turns and, of course, gets a bullet right through his brain.
Mm-hmm. And that's how we get the Marquis. His arrogance is his downfall, right? We never
That's
saw
right.
him lift a finger
this
until
young
it's
guy.
so
right.
easy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's very arrogant. He thinks everyone's going to do everything. Young rich guy who's just
Incredibly
like,
opulent.
yeah.
And now
so
here
he
I've
goes
remembered
to
his
coming
name.
down to hang out there.
Clancy Brown's Harbinger character
Harbinger.
Yes.
says, and
Arbiter.
of course, He basically
Yeah.
is the arbiter. And that everything has been paid off because of this. The duel has come to its conclusion. John is released from control of the high table. He is no longer excommunicado. He is back into retirement.
And Donnie Yen as
Winston,
well has
Donnie Yen as well, is
fulfilled his contract. His daughter's safe.
totally
Mhm.
free. His daughter's safe as well. Winston will have the Continental rebuilt, and he will be reinstated as the manager.
Mhm.
And all of our heroes win and succeed. And then John Wick turns and says, "Take me home, Winston." And Ian McShane looks so incredibly sad that truly I was like, at this moment, I said, "Oh no," to myself under my breath,
And
as it
yeah.
all came crashing down to me, and
keep
I
in mind,
realized what
John
was
Wick
happening.
has at least 3 bullet wounds in him now. He's just bleeding from multiple spots in his body where he was shot by Donnie Yen.
Fell downstairs.
Not fatal yet, but he's really injured. And he just wants to go home. He walks over to the steps, right? And he just kind of sits down, and then he just falls over, right?
He thinks
We get
about his
a-
wife. We get a quick montage of Bridget Moynihan of the scenes of, "Oh John, oh Johnny, John, stop filming me." Those classic moments.
Mhm.
Of course.
It's a little Blade Runner 2049 situation. He sits
Yeah,
down on the
you gotta look
steps and
at
just
the,
calls it quits.
Yeah.
No?
Just falls over. Cut to slow fade back to New York City. We see the city landscape, and then 2 gravestones, and it's John Wick, Helen Wick, and John Wick, loving wife, loving husband.
Yep.
Ugh.
And then
Winston is there.
Winston and
The Bowery King, and they're like,
Bowery King and their dog.
Bowering
That
King
John Wick's
has,
dog.
yes, John Wick's new dog, which is sort of like going crazy. And yeah, they have a small conversation where Ian McShane says, "Where do you think he is, heaven or hell?" And
who knows? Yep.
John's over.
And yeah,
John's gone.
That's the big spoiler. John Wick Chapter 4, The Death of John Wick. How do you feel about this?
Well,
I feel like-
frankly, not advertised, certainly. You have to give it up that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, I was kind of half expecting it. I felt like when his arc was complete, he was going to die, and I thought this would be the last John Wick chapter. So I actually was kind of expecting him to die at the end of this film.
Wow.
Yeah. In hindsight, it all makes sense, especially seeing that he kind of realizes that this is a destructive path. It's not going to solve anything. And he talked with his conversation with Donnie Yen. He's like able to be like, "Hey, man, maybe if I can just do one good thing, like if I can help Donnie Yen get out of this shit and kill the Marquis, at least then I fucking helped somebody for once during this revenge tirade." And that's kind of his goal. And that's why he's wearing the white shirt. He finally decides to do something for someone other than himself, you know? So I think it's a beautiful kind of end for the character. It makes perfect sense to me. But
Yeah.
sad to see him go, though. Legend.
It's very bittersweet. It almost taints the film for me in a way, which is interesting. I liked it a lot, but it feels like a suicide note to me now, where I watch it and I go, "Yeah, all the signs were there." You know, of
Right.
course,
Yeah,
like
well,
of
how
course
what
this
did
is
you
what happened.
How did you expect his story to
I
end?
don't know,
it had to
Jacob.
end with him dying.
It's
The only thing
it's
keeping him living
strange.
was this sort of path of revenge that he was on, and then once he accomplished everything, he was totally forgiven by the high table. He had nothing left to really live for, and he
Mhm.
just wanted to basically go to sleep and just die. You know?
You're right.
He's with his wife again, you know? Now, there's
Yeah.
fans are like, "Well, what if he's not really dead and this is fake too?" Who knows?
Well, they filmed it in a way where if in
Yes,
5
I
years,
read
10
this.
years, Keanu's like, "You know what? Let's do another John Wick." That he could come back, he could be in hiding or something like that. Like it's open ended enough that they could bring him back. I think.
would
The
hope
line
not.
is, "Where do you think he is?" And then the dog goes crazy and looks off screen. Now, Chad Stileski said, "This is how we wanted it to end. I shot another cut to make Lionsgate happy, where, kind of indicated that the dog runs off to somebody. Maybe someone did survive and fake their death. We showed that to audiences. They fucking hated it." And he said, "And that cemented to me that Keanu and I were right. It was time to just hang up the suit."
Wow.
Yeah, they were
So it's
originally
definitive to him. He thinks it is the end.
I think it should. Thematically,
I think it should
makes
be.
sense.
Yeah.
And what do you do? He's 58. Like, not saying he can't do it because he can clearly do it, but like,
Yeah.
I think it's a.
And also,
you're going to end up watering it down at this point. And
Exactly,
on a high
yeah,
note,
like-
and they ended on a very, very high note.
yeah, and they've one up themselves every sequel. They've tried to go bigger. try to do new things, and it's like, how many can you realistically make and keep the quality consistently excellent like it has been? Like, how many John Wicks could you really do? This one kind of felt like we're going to throw in everything that we always wanted to do. It's going to be this grand finale to his story, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
It really gives you everything you could want, I'd say. It's the director said it's the only franchise where I can have dogs and samurai fighting gun people and car
Right.
chases. And this movie has all of that. It's got samurais, it's got dogs, it's got cars, it's got motorcycles, it's got crazy hand-to-hand
Yeah.
combat and
We have
choreography. What more do you need?
a samurai-style sword duel and a Western-style pistol duel in the same movie. I mean,
And
come
a
on.
car
If one of the guys
fight.
at the high table was like, "By the way, I'm a cyborg," I'd be like, "Ooh, interesting new element."
It's an
It would
AI.
not feel out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think overall they crushed it, and it's a good way to just call it. What more do you want out of an action movie, an action franchise? I mean, how many other ways can you kill people? Like dog. I don't know what you would do for 5. And we were gonna do 5, and then they realized, you know what? I think 4 is enough. It's a long, it's almost 3 hours, so that's fine. It's a good chunky movie, and I think it was the right choice. And also 4, thematically in like Asia and stuff, some countries it like means death, because it's the same, like in Japanese pronunciation. 4 could also be she, so it's kind of thematically appropriate for the influences of John Wick to die in the 4th movie. But
Yeah.
All right. Well, they wrapped it up so perfectly. Let's wrap up our final thoughts here on, I guess, the John Wick franchise. Here, coming up on Normies Like Us.
I'll need an opinion.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We've met with the tailor. We got our suits, or the sommelier.
That's right.
Visited the hotel. We fell down some stairs, which was not fun, but we're back here on Normies Like Us talking that killer franchise that is John Wick.
I have to say, in the John Wick series, falling downstairs is a common occurrence. Thank you.
Ha ha ha. Where was Common in this film? Why did he not come out at the
It's
end?
the only thing we needed was common.
Yeah.
But I think we're all standing on common ground where we say this is really great. I have a question, about the future of this world, because the world building's so great. We know we're getting the ballerina, Anna Darmus. We'll see how that goes. I think she's a good actress. Blade Runner, I like Anna Darmus. We'll see how the action goes. And then we have... so I wrote this. John Wick has phases. The universe of John Wick has phases, and we've just finished phase 1. So what is phase 2? Ballerina,
Yeah.
could the Tracker and Rina Sawayama do stuff? I would like to see more of those characters. So I'm seeing kind of that younger set of 3 being the future of this high table world.
Well, I know they also have this Continental TV show that they want to do, which is going to focus on Ian McShane's character, I believe, at a younger age, kind of
Before
setting up the Continental in New York City. Yeah.
To me, Lance Reddick should have been the lead of whatever that series was. So what a shame.
Yeah. I think overall, as much as I like the world building of these movies and stuff, I kind of like, the John Wick part of it is like the best part of it. So John Wick without John Wick, it's not as much of a sell for me. I mean, I'll still probably, watch whatever they do, but I'm less interested in the world without John Wick, I guess.
I would have to agree, Colin. Do you feel the same way? Like, I like these characters enough, and the world is interesting, but yeah, John Wick, Keanu, going crazy is kind of the draw, but, there enough meat on the bone to sustain it.
The most obvious route, and this is just if Chad Stileski wants a paycheck, I could see him just being like John Wick, Baba Yaga Legacy or Origins is coming out, and it is a prequel movie where we will just have somebody else play John Wick. You see how he meets his wife. You see how he does the uncompletable task, and you finally see what that is. Like, they've purposely left his background so open and unexplored, it feels like, for that particular reason. And I am with you guys. Even putting John Wick back into the John Wick universe that way, I would still not be interested, because it's just, everything doesn't need to be a universe. And I know that's just such a dumb, cheap argument if you're like, but I'm a fan of it. Don't I deserve to see more? And it's like, there are going to be, for the rest of our lives, movies that are made because John Wick was made. And that's great, but you're going to eat so many imitators. Why would you want to see the thing you like be spoiled and be eaten up by that as well?
Yeah,
very true. Yeah, its influence is going to be very heavy on the action genre for a long time.
forever.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, not every franchise needs to have a million world building side projects. And like, I think the world building of this series is good in that like it fits this universe, but I'm not super curious about learning more about it without
No.
Keanu as John Wick. Like that's what makes it so great. Like taking Keanu out of it, it's just like,
No.
man, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just call it the Scorn series at that point if John Wick's not in it. But here we do get the post-credit stinger where we have Donnie Yen going to see his daughter. He's got flowers. He's walking through the crowd to go see his daughter. Now that he can finally, go talk to her and stuff. I think he couldn't have contact with her or something for a period. So now he's going to reunite with her.
Right.
And then we see Akira, Rina Sawayama, walking through the crowd with a knife.
Yes.
Cut to black. So there is
Little
things
stinger.
are moving, but what is that?
That
It's not
scene was
John Wick
shot very
5.
weird with like the soft focus. I thought that was weird. And also when we were sitting there in the theater, all the credits are playing. We're sitting there. I'm like, man, I gotta use the bathroom. I gotta get out of here. You
3
guys are
hours.
like, no, there's definitely gonna
You
be
were
another scene. I was like, after the credit scene in a John Wick movie, I don't know.
Never a franchise first. They've never done it before,
Never
but you
done
were
it.
so adamant. And I was truly just like, I just can't believe what we just saw. I like couldn't move, like regardless
wanted
of
to
what.
let
And
the
then when something
crew-
came up, I was shocked.
Well, our friend Adam, who was there with us, was
Mhm.
like, no, they usually the lights would go up if it was over, the lights are still dim. That means there's going to be something after these credits. We wait through the whole credits. I'm like, I gotta freaking pee. Like I've been holding
Yeah.
in for 2 hours and 45 minutes, man.
Come on.
And then he was right. So I was like, man, wow,
Yep.
vindicated.
Yeah. But it is a lot. I had to pee since they got to Paris, man. That was a tough finale
Yeah.
to get through. It's a long movie, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I was
that's our
drinking
stinger.
brewskis. Yeah.
Yeah, you're having adult beverages. That doesn't help, but so that's where they left it. We'll see what they do. Are they going to follow up or not? Like Donnie Yen, super cool. Like, what do you do with that relationship?
I
I'm
think that's
curious
just a
about
good
the
stinger.
future.
Yeah, to end it on.
It is. Here's my thoughts. If somebody said to me, "What is the most important movie that released in your lifetime?" I would say The Avengers because what it did to films.
Yep.
But to a specific genre, I would say John Wick. Like anyone who makes an action movie now is like, well, we want it to kind of be like John Wick, but like John Wick meets like the streets of Agrabah. It's Aladdin, but he has a gun, and you're like,
Yeah.
what was that? And they're like,
Yeah.
they're like, don't worry about that. And when you get these films where it's like, what is Hotel Artemis with Jodie Foster and Batista? Well, it's about a hospital that killers go to where they know there's a rule that they can't kill each other. You're like, right. And Atomic
Right.
Blonde, it's like, who's Atomic Blonde? I'm like, well, she's an unstoppable
John
woman
Wick,
with
but
no
she's a
past, and
woman.
she's a ghost,
Yeah.
but she's a woman and she can kill. And you're like, right. And I'm not just talking about the ripoffs. We're talking about the aesthetics. We pointed out in this film the needless headshot realism that was caused by this film franchise personally carries on to action movies in a way where they, even in like big budget stuff, they're like, there's got to be like a cool sleek scene where like you really see violent stuff happen, and you're like, in Black Adam, and they're like, yeah, in Black Adam.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
And this film franchise, God love it, it's still, the box office that it's bringing in is of course impressive, but again, it's Lionsgate getting lucky with something that really doesn't cost a lot of money too. Like Keanu Reeves, no offense everybody, is not the most expensive A-list movie star to put in your film anyway. And the goodwill that he generates is priceless.
Yeah, and also the fact that this franchise basically rejuvenated his career, which wasn't really doing
Yes.
that well like through the 2000s. This led to, Matrix 4. This
He
led to him being a
got to
bankable
do
star again.
another Bill and Ted
Yes.
because John Wick exists.
Yes.
And thank you for bringing up Matrix 4. This will be the last part of my point. I really like Matrix 4. I understand it's a devices film and that a film that I would call the most important film released in my lifetime, The Matrix, up until these other little paragons I've pointed out. I mean, there would be no John Wick without it. Obviously, we talked about how the directors literally were the stunt doubles for Neo on that film. That's how they
Mhm.
met this man to do these things.
Right.
But I mean, in the sense that like action really hadn't been redefined. And I'm so glad that action was able to reach a point where like it's changed and evolved so much. Keanu is still such a part of it and such a driving force that he has this thing, and Matrix 4 can be totally different, where the whole point of that movie is Keanu Reeves never picks up a gun. He never fires a gun because obviously Lana Wachowski was very affected by the fact that the Matrix was blamed for Columbine, that like violence in America was a direct result of something she created. Now, when a school shot up, which I'm going to go ahead and say to date this, happened today when we're fucking recording this podcast right now. A fucking
Right.
tragedy happened in Tennessee. It's goddamn
Right.
awful.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's not really going to be an equation of like, well, the number one movie at the time that happened was John Wick Chapter 4. Like, there is a violence in America thing. No,
Right.
we're kind of past excuses at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah. People
And
have
the
always tried
culture
to,
and world has changed.
yeah, blame video games
Raw
or
man.
heavy metal music or
Yes.
whatever. Like, there are always people who will try to do that,
Yes.
but yeah.
Two different franchises, both made of love and for love and having all this action stuff.
And
Matrix 4 can
redefining
take the
action
route.
genre. Yeah. both
Totally.
of them. Yeah.
Yes, but Matrix 4 can take the route of like, he's not going to use a weapon. It's going to be about positivity. I'm kind of embarrassed that I made these action films in general. And John Wick Chapter 4 can be like, it's about love. It's about all those things too. But also, we're not embarrassed about being an action movie. That's what these fucking things are. We're about to rock your body with it. I mean, it just washes over you. This franchise is incredible.
I
And one other thing I want to say,
Hit it.
sorry,
Please.
just about, we're talking about the incredible stunt work and everything.
Mhm.
There is not a best Oscar
No.
I wanted to
for
bring that up.
best
Thank you.
stunts, and there really should be, because that's as impressive as cinematography or any other
Yes.
aspect of filmmaking. And to think that we could have had a best stunt category for years and really celebrated these great stunt workers and stuff, like that really should be an Oscar category. I
That's-
think.
Let's be real quick. Film, the Oscars celebrate the creation of film, the role and job that is filmmaking. If you are a department head, you should be eligible for an award then. Stunts is a department.
Right. They have effects, they have makeup. Like, why not stunts,
Yeah, exactly. If we're doing costuming, again, that's a part of the art form. Stunts are just as important part of the art form. And it's like, yeah, maybe best performance, you can cry, make it emotional, but can you fucking do what Keanu Reeves do? Like, come on
Right.
physically with your body. Like, these stunt people are putting their lives at risk going through glass and downstairs. And like, just for the entertainment of the audience, they need an Oscar category for them for sure.
Well,
Tom
Mission
Cruise
Impossible
saving
does
the
back-
movie
Tom Cruise
industry.
would be up on.
Yeah.
yes, but
Stunts
this
too.
argument that it would only incite people to create more and more dangerous
It's an arms
situations for
race.
each other,
Tom Cruise
Now,
does that anyways. That's what
as if that's
wakes
not
up every morning
happening
and does
with camera people in camera departments to get unique shots, as if that's
Yeah.
not happening with actors, let alone the things that like, I'm not even talking about danger, like Tom Cruise trying to break breath holding records. No. Dangerous acting is what Daniel Day-Lewis does, where he makes you carry him around in a chair all day. That is dangerous. You know, those things. There are, to say that people aren't going to extremes, no matter what, you're wrong. They are in every category. So why would you prohibit that for stunts? That's ridiculous.
And if you look at John Wick, like they are going to. I've never seen anything like this. They're doing it for the love of the game. Like they're already
Yeah.
pushing the envelope because they want to. It's not like it's going to create an arms race, and they should be recognized. And that's why even if there was no post creds, I was sitting all the way through it because everybody involved in this film, top to bottom, deserves a lot of respect and
Right.
admiration because it's incredible.
And ultimately, that's what's pushes the art form forward, is people who are doing it just for the love of it and not really caring about awards, box office, anything like that. Like, those things are nice, but really, people that love film, like, this is a really a film made by
May-
people that love the
Talk about
craft.
movie magic. This is magic. It's
Yeah.
on film.
Here's something.
Like, yeah.
Make it so you wouldn't be eligible if a safety personnel team isn't on set, of
Yeah.
whatever standards that you set that has to document the stunt as it happens to qualify.
Right.
Clearly, you have behind the scenes showing this is how we pulled it off and did it safely. Pretty fucking cool, huh? And I would love to see that
Yeah.
content just as a fan. Like, I wanted to see behind the scenes of that top down, everything like that. So,
Yeah,
just
it should
ton of
really
respect
be
for this.
Viewership for the Oscars every year goes down. It didn't this year. Fuck you guys. Somehow it didn't.
Yeah.
If they
People wanted
if
to
the
see another
producers well,
slap
they
moment.
yes,
That's why they were
exactly.
tuning in. Yeah.
If you want to automatically juice your numbers by 10%, say tomorrow we are doing best stunt at the next Oscars.
Yeah. Tom Cruise versus Keanu Reeves, dog. Like, it's out here. Or the stunt teams themselves get recognized by name, right? And
Yeah.
I
The
think that's
debates that
important.
you would have, Mike, where you're like, yo, is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 going to get it, or John Wick Chapter 4? Yo, when they did, oh my God, the overhead. You're talking about the overhead shot? Bro, I'm talking about when Tom Cruise jumps off with the motorcycle, bro. And just like,
Yep.
they would be, those would change Oscar parties. It would be so much fun.
I would actually start watching it because I'm kind of
Yes.
like, it doesn't really attract me, but that kind of stuff, I give them. And you know, we were talking briefly, we're winding it down, but about clones. People are going to clone John Wick. We don't need an extended universe because we're going to get shitty John Wick movies anyway. And like, you could only do it with Keanu. Like, he's such a singular being, and like you have to train as hard as he did for like 3 to 6. He's now had years of training for this stuff.
Yeah.
Stunt driving, martial arts, gun handling, you know. No one's that dedicated. You're not going to get a spin-off guy to work as hard as that. Like, especially if you're trying to
Right.
do a cheap imitation. So this is as high as it's going to get. Yeah, why water it down essentially?
What's going to happen to Keanu, Mike? Because he did the revamp of the other characters that he had. He did Bill and Ted, and it kind of did nothing. They're not making
Did Neo?
Bill and Ted 4. He has that comic book called Berserker that is literally drawn to look like Keanu, and I know that has been optioned.
Mm.
I heard there was interest in Constantine reboot, like another
Oh my
Constantine.
God,
Sign me up.
Mike.
I used to eat hot dogs at the same stand from that movie. It was near my film school. I was like, Constantine hot dog stand. Hell yeah.
Well, you had a
Wow.
bug in a match case that you would shave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think between John Wick and then him being Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk really put him in the spotlight for me, at
That's
least.
what he should
again.
do.
And- yeah.
I guess a
Cyberpunk
Cyberpunk
movie.
movie,
Johnny
maybe.
Silverhand. Dude,
Yeah.
this is perfect actually, because this leads me to my question. First of all, what do you think? Do you know John Wick's kill to death ratio?
Oh
'Cause
God.
I have it here. If you want to guess,
He's only died once.
Well, I was
So,
gonna
yeah.
say his
No,
KD is
the ratio is
X
astronomical.
to
But what's
1.
the K? Yeah.
He's probably
Yeah,
killed
it's-
like, I don't know, 1,000 people through the 4 movies.
I was gonna say 500, and that seemed high to me. You think 1,000?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm bad at
We're
estimating
at-
numbers.
Roughly, based on people seeing John Wick 4 and adding it to the total, 439 kills to 1 death. 439.
good.
So Colin's
Close.
closest.
That's pretty good.
But then I'm thinking, who has killed more people than Johnny Silverhands by nuking Arasaka or John Wick?
Right.
Probably Johnny Silverhands.
Yeah,
But who would win in a
the
fight?
Fallout.
But who would win in
I
a
would give it
fight?
to John
John
Wick.
Wick.
But I
John
would say,
Wick would beat
okay,
Silverhands.
I would
John
say
Wick,
you can't
Johnny
kill
Silverhand,
Johnny. So
And Neo.
Yeah.
Does
Ooh.
Neo
Yeah.
beat John Wick? Because Neo
Does
can just
Neo beat
control
John
the
Wick?
environment around you.
But he can't only do that in the Matrix. He can't control the environment.
But in the
real
third
world.
one, he does it in the real world. But maybe that's a
Shit.
deeper layer of the Matrix, remember?
does John know he's in the simulation?
No.
Because I feel like
No,
if
I
he
don't know.
knew, he would be able to one style manipulate it too. But if he didn't,
Right.
then I think Neo would win.
Yeah, that's
That's a
true.
good point.
But a good question. Yeah, I think John should do the Johnny Silverhand Cyberpunk prequel. I think everyone would want to see that.
Yeah.
With Keanu
Yeah.
Reeves.
Yeah, I don't know. He's gonna sign on to some weird stuff. He'll shave. He'll cut his hair. He's not going to be.
He can't.
We've all kind of.
do it. He can't. It's his
Well,
charisma.
it's just we've all kind of infantilized him a little bit, Mike, in that we
Hmm.
kind of. It's the same thing that just happened with Brendan Fraser, where everybody's like, "What are you talking about? I love John Wick. I love Keanu. He's so there he is. I love you,
Well,
Keanu."
He's the
Mhm.
best in like this kind of movie. Like, he's great, obviously, at the action. He's not the best actor in the world. And usually when when his movies flop, it's something like The Lake House or something where he's trying
Oh,
a
yeah.
romantic comedy or something like that. where it's
Jacob,
not.
you know what my dad said? I was talking to my dad on Friday, and he has
Yeah.
not seen it yet. And he said, "You know what AMC's playing nonstop because of it?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "The Replacements." He's good in that.
Oh,
I was
Shane
like,
do like the
Falco.
replacements.
I was like, why do you
Yeah.
think he's good in that? And he said, because he needs a role like that where he can be low energy, high charisma. He's the only guy who can pull that off. And I thought, oh, yeah,
Right.
you're right.
Replacements, Point Break. I mean, he's been in some good ones. Speed, obviously.
A Johnny Utah sequel at this point, if they did they did Point Break 2 now.
They did a reboot of Point Break.
I know.
yeah.
But if they did it now, dude, with Patrick Swayze gone and shit, and Gary Busey gone and shit, like, I don't know. Is
Crazy
Gary
mix.
Busey dead? He might not be.
I don't think so.
Okay.
He's
I
the
wasn't
Bobby
gonna
Hog.
say anything, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but they could redo Johnny Mnemonic. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Mnemonic too. I mean,
I do think he
I
needs to
wouldn't
do
be
like a
surprised.
he needs to do a cyberpunk sci-fi, even if it's not cyberpunk branded like Cyberpunk 2077. He needs
Yeah,
to do like a
TM.
sci-fi or something next. Like, that would be great.
But yeah, there's very much, yeah, he has to do actions, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
I think about everything before I say it. Like
His only
it's-
comedy is
yeah.
really Bill and Ted, where he's the kind of
and he was
stoner
young in
kind of
the
character.
original, like he was
Yeah.
fine to just be a teen, but
Well,
anyway.
that was kind of the character of him, is like kind of the clueless surfer stoner guy.
Whoa.
But
Yeah,
actually,
that's where woe
he's actually
comes from.
very well spoken and eloquent in
But
press
he's
and stuff.
actually, a mid-century lawyer purchasing a house, right? You're saying Bram Stoker's Dracula is the most accurate Keanu
Obviously,
performance?
that was his best
Wow.
role. Yeah,
Dang, good cut. That's a
kind of
deep cut.
struggling to do a British accent. Yeah,
Struggling, failing.
That's giving
Yeah.
him too much credit, but no, we
probably
love
outside
Keanu,
his
though.
range a little bit, but
Oh,
Yeah.
we
Francis
love
Ford
Keanu.
Coppola has apologized since this, saying it was his fault. Keanu
Yeah.
tried every day. He said, I've never seen a guy try harder in my life. He knew it wasn't working. And every day he would come to set saying, I'm going to figure it out today, Francis.
Sure.
And he
They
never
say
did.
he's one of the hardest. Well, even stunt people said he's one of the hardest workers. Like he's one of the most
Yeah.
dedicated at the thing. And I don't. Yeah, it's just sometimes emoting is hard. But he's so good at so much other stuff. He's such a great human being. Obviously off camera and stuff. Like you can't not like him. But what does he do
Nah,
to carry?
yeah.
Franchises.
He's one of
nowadays,
those people where everyone who's ever met him talks about him as like he's just the nicest, greatest guy. So
Is
good
John
for
Wick his
him.
greatest role, or is that still Neo? Is his career defined by John Wick at this point? I think he's evolved
I
past
think
Neo
Neo-
into John Wick right now.
Neo is so important.
It's
though.
like a
Yeah.
Charmander,
But
Charmeleon
it's like
John
definitely
Wick.
second to Neo at this point, because Neo is his most
Hmm.
iconic young role where
Yeah.
when he was up and coming, but
It's
John
just
Wick
you.
has really defined his later career.
I don't think anyone ever grows past the chosen one. I think once your
Hmm.
iconic movie is you're the chosen one, it's just that's what you'll be known for the rest of your life.
I see him as
Yeah.
John Wick, man. I don't know.
That's
Neo,
crazy.
while incredible, was an evolutionary step to get us to what we see in John Wick with his physical ability, learning kung fu. Like all of it led us to John Wick, and I think it's the culmination, at least, of his experiences and learnings. And I think the fourth movie, for the character to die, it's a perfect send off of all the shit he's learned throughout his career in the different movies, and to put it all on film with a great stunt team, great cinematography, amazing. So good for you,
Yeah.
Keanu. Good for you, whole team.
This
know,
is a
man.
fact that I do like to point out very quickly that David Leitch was part of the stunt team on The Crow. And after Brandon Lee was killed on that Alex Proyas set film because of a stunt accident, David Leitch actually had to put on a mask that they had made of Brandon Lee's face and act as him in several scenes as
Oh.
The Crow. Horrifying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stunts, man. It's no joke, and that's why
Not
these
good.
people deserve credit. Yeah, it's dangerous.
Well, that's why
you know?
why they're both allowed to have an opinion on Rust. Obviously, they've been very vocal about the armor situation on that
Mhm.
film.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to be careful with those things. Yeah. Safety is important.
Mhm.
Not
Well, I
good.
think that's-
But what is
yep.
good is this incredible franchise
movie.
we've been talking about. It is John Wick. We're going to check out of the Continental right now. Jacob doesn't have enough coins, so Mike and I are going to kill him in a little bit. But before we do that, before we excommunicado you,
No.
I would urge you and the rest of our fans to go to @normies_like_us on all social media, where you can review, subscribe, and tell us what you think is going to be the future of the John Wick franchise. We would very much like to know, or what your favorite stunts were, action films. Hold on, let's rate them real quick. I forgot to do that. I'm going to go 3, 1, 4, 2.
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna.
think okay.
I'll say I think 1, 3, 4, 2. I think 3
Wow.
is a little better than 4, but they're both really good. 2 is my least favorite one. It's still good, but I think 1, the original, just the simplicity of the premise and the execution is
Wow.
just done so well that I think it's still the best one.
Yeah, it's very humble. I go 1, 4, 2, 3.
Wow.
I like the game of at the Enter the Dragon reference, like all the mirrors and stuff at the end of 2,
Yeah.
and that
For
that
me
stuff
too,
works for me.
the big villains that he has to fight aren't as good as 3 and 4, where
No.
he's Common and Ruby
Oh,
Rose
yeah.
as like very kind of stereotypical gun
But you
assassins,
get
where he's
that
doing a lot
cool
more
like
martial
walking
arts
in
in 3 and
public.
4.
There's like fun stuff there, but
Yeah.
there's no bad ones. There's no bad ones, obviously.
No,
This
and
is the
I
most
understand
consistent
the
action franchise. Yeah.
absolutely, and I get the love for the first one for sure. But it's
Mhm.
just it's the world has changed so much. He doesn't even wear a suit in that one. He wears an overcoat and a black turtleneck. That's John Wick's iconic outfit in that one. You're
He
like,
looks
okay,
his best in
interesting.
2. Yeah, that's when he's the
Yes.
most put
But
together.
I still
and then
just
he
remember
goes to shit.
that first nightclub scene when he's going after Theon
The Red
Greyjoy,
Circle Club. Yeah,
and the music
Mhm.
kicks in, and it's just like
I
so
still
good.
listen to that song, dude. It's fucking
Yeah.
a fucking banger.
Yeah, I think that's the moment that the whole action genre changed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're 100% right.
But I
Yes,
think
and thank you for
4
taking this journey with us, Normies.
Yeah, 4 is
Absolutely.
definitely the pinnacle. Like it's definitely has the most. It's the highest highs, right?
Yes.
As far as choreography and execution, but that first movie is very specific. So anyway, love this franchise. It doesn't miss, just like John Wick. I think it's got like an 83% hit rate. The accuracy is off the charts.
Oh, that's amazing.
Something
all
like
right.
that.
Always finish him off with a headshot. Remember that.
Yep, 2 in the center mass. Anyway,
E. Well, we've been your hosts. This is Colin Nobody.
like Wick.
This is the Baba Jaka.
Oh,
Oh no, you're excommunicado, dude. Get out of here.
they call him
My ticket was
the
torn.
Baba Jaka.
All right. Well, to quote Keanu one more time, listeners, be excellent to each other. Take care, and catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.